And we're starting off with the weather. That's a big topic on people's minds this time of year. A few pockets of storms made their way through the state this week, but we are continuing to keep our eye on the drought monitor. As of this recording, the drought monitor map showed moderate drought north of the Platte River in eastern Nebraska. Abnormally dry to moderate drought conditions were reported from Nebraska's Panhandle south into central Nebraska. All this coming during a crucial time in the growing season. DTN Senior Ag Meteorologist Bryce Anderson joined me this week to sort through what we need to know.
Well, there's no doubt that there's a need for water, and the fact that you've got such a demand going for irrigation, I think, has been a real concern over the past several weeks, as we have seen the western half of the state turn quite a bit drier. One thing that has maybe helped a little bit in that respect is that there's been somewhat of a periodic surge of some cooler air out of the northern plains that has worked its way southward and has helped to maybe modify some of that heat stress a little bit. And then, of course, we have seen a few rounds of thunderstorms work across the eastern half of the state that have certainly helped things out. But there's been a notable demand for irrigation during the past month, and considering that we're going into the real high usage time now from pollination all the way through filling with corn, I don't think that there's going to be much of a slowdown the way things are appearing. We're not going to get maybe stressfully hot in the forecast, but it still is going to be very warm. And obviously this has been a very warm summer already. So there's no sense to think that the rest of July and into August is going to change that much.
And Bryce, what about that dryness we've been seeing on the western side of the state and out through the Panhandle? Are we still seeing a big concern here when it comes to heat stress with cattle or with pasture conditions?
Well, I think that there will be the continued concern about pasture quality and the stress that we're going to see in terms of livestock conditions as well. The real long-standing bubbles of heat that we had in mid-July, I think, are going to largely be pretty well confined to maybe just a day or two as we go through the month of August. But there's been, I think, already some performance reduction, a little bit of a drawdown in performance because of the kind of heat that we saw in mid-July. And then, of course, the impact on hay production. When we think about this being a prime season for taking care of putting hay up and harvesting that, that's also probably going to mean that the yield on that hay crop is not going to be as large as we'd like to see.
And all that being said, we've still had those on and off rain chances this week. Is that moving the needle much in terms of relief from this heat or recharging that soil moisture?
Well, I think certainly the rainfall that we've had during the past several days is helping to set corn and soybeans up for a pretty favorable run of moisture supplies now through the end of the month, and we're going to have corn entirely pollinated here in not very much longer, and soybean flowering is going to continue. But we know that soybeans actually can handle some drier conditions quite well, and don't really have a real issue with that. And as far as really recharging soil moisture supplies, I don't think we're going to be having too much of that happen, just because we're in a very high usage time of the season for crops and vegetation to take up the water supplies. But the good thing is that there's not going to be, I think, a lot of real moisture deficits over the eastern half of the state to work with.